So, Warwick, a very important question.
Yes.
Chocolate, strawberry or caramel sundae?
So the hot chocolate sundae, the large one. I used to go out to dinner. How's this? How bad is this? I'd go out for this fancy dinner, skip the schmicko dessert at the restaurant, and go to the drive-thru at Macca's to get a hot fudge sundae.
That is sad.
Welcome to the Tradies Business Show, helping you get off the tools and into true business ownership, so you can spend more time doing the things that matter most. Now, here are your hosts, Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark.
And welcome to another episode of the Tradies Business Show. I hope you are going through drive-thru in Macca's now to get your sundaes.
There's people out there just going, damn it, why did you do that to me? Now I won't be able to think about anything other than a hot chocolate sundae.
Oh, caramel.
I can't remember.
Caramel's better.
Caramel?
Yeah.
Nah, I just don't get the caramel thing. I find it too sweet.
Oh,
That's
no.
a bit funny, isn't it? Caramel's too sweet. Anyway, I can't remember the last time I had a Macca's sundae. It's a long, long time ago.
Yeah, no, I can remember.
You can. It was yesterday, wasn't it?
A few weeks ago.
Anyway, welcome back to the Tradies Business Show, listeners. Great to have you with us. I'm Woz, and this is Michaela. Well, it was Michaela. Michaela was dreaming of a sundae just then. In case you hadn't guessed, today's guest is from McDonald's, but not from McDonald's corporate. So Matt Grut is the proud owner of two stores on the north side of Brisbane. One is actually a very, very busy store in a very good location. So I now understand why Matt has so many surfboards and drives a couple of very nice cars. But he's been involved in the business for a long time, 28 years in fact.
Yeah, and he actually did talk about, or do some D-myths. Actually, I thought that, running McDonald's franchise was, easy peasy and they make lots of money and the world's sweet. And that's not always the case.
No, just like any other business, it takes hard work and need to be looking at the right things. So some great lessons in here. We don't talk about how to make a burger, but certainly about, lessons from the McDonald's business and certainly from a franchisee's perspective as well. So really good interview and Matt's a really good guy. So I think you'll enjoy this one today.
Enjoy.
So joining us in the Tradies Business Show studio today is Matt Grut from, he's not from McDonald's corporate. Matt's got two stores on the north side of Brisbane. Welcome to the studio today, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, mate. And Michaela's joining us too.
Hello.
In the background there. So Matt, you've got a couple of stores, pretty successful. I know they're in a fairly high traffic area, or one of them certainly is. And we were just chatting before we hit record that it's a bit of a drop off, an exchange point for, I think, parents with kids, sales reps, all that sort of people, because it's in a fairly high profile location. But mate, where did all this start for you? Where did the whole journey start, and how did you get to be involved with the company?
So it started for me when I was 14, 9 months. Back in those days, you had to be 14, 9 months to start working at Macca's, way back then. And literally, started as a pimply-faced, oily-haired, young bloke that looking for a part-time job after school to be able to buy his next pair of Reeboks, and just kind of worked my way up through all the different ranks. And 28 years later, here I am. So I've done everything from every position possible, every management course, and then about probably 8 years or 9 years ago, took the next step and became the franchisee of a shop up in Noosa, and we ran that for a few years, and we sold that, and we bought a couple down here on the north side of Brisbane.
Nice, mate. So I have to ask, what was the wage, the hourly rate for a 14-odd-year-old pimply-faced, greasy-haired dude flipping burgers?
Oh, good question. 28 years ago, I struggle to remember what I got paid last week. So probably, I would say $6 maybe rings about. That might have been 10 years ago.
Big money for a 14-year-old, mate. Anyway, either way,
enough to buy me a pair of Reeboks. That's for sure.
Nice. So you've obviously come a long way since then, Matt. What's been some of the good things about working with the McDonald's brand?
Well, obviously it's international, so you use the Golden Arches anywhere, and most people have heard of it, seen of it, know what it's about. I think we're the second most recognised brand in the world behind Mickey Mouse. We're the second biggest real estate holder in the world behind the Catholic Church, Catholics. I think in Australia we have more car parks than all the Westfields added together. Car park spacing. So we're a pretty big organisation. So you go in most places, they know who you are and where you're from, sort of thing.
Yeah, so one of the big things with McDonald's they're known for is their systems and the way that no matter what McDonald's you go to, it's going to be the same.
Yep.
and things like that. So for a lot of our listeners, they don't really see systems as being a key part of their business.
Yep.
But how does it affect what you do at McDonald's and the key that it plays?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think systems are, if you look at our structure here in Australia, we've probably got something in the vicinity of 70-odd thousand staff. So without systems, you're not going to have consistency. And a Big Mac's a Big Mac, doesn't matter where you go. We still get it wrong. We still got humans involved, so we still boo-boo it, and they still try to find shortcuts around the systems because they think that they know better than something that's been invented. But yeah, look, without the systems, our growth would be limited. The systems allow us to be able to do it multiple times over with the consistency, which then gets the consumer to have some trust with that, knowing that what it is going to be, that it's going to be consistent, regardless of whether it. You and I like steaks differently. I don't know how you like your steak. I'm a medium rare sort of a guy.
Well done for me.
Yeah,
but yeah, go on.
My wife's well done. So. How you think something should be cooked is completely different to how I think it should be cooked. So systems brings it into a way that people can know. So I don't cook the meat the way I would like it because I'd probably do a little bit under. If you got that, you'd be a bit dirty. So the whole point is that whichever Macca is going to go into, it's going to look a certain way, taste a certain way, and be constructed a certain way.
Yeah. And I know that, you have a lot of new products and things coming online all the time. How effective is it with your systems and being able to train your staff and be able to keep that innovation going? Yeah,
that's exactly what it does. It allows us to do new things. So the current thing we have right now is Create Your Taste, which is where you can go in and build your own burger. So that's something that we've rolled out Australia-wide in 3 months. Wow. So there is no way you could do that without having systems in place that you can follow. And look, at doing something that big on that scale across the entire country in that shorter period of time absolutely pushes the systems to their capacities, but that's also where the success is coming from.
It's one of the, I think, resistance points from business owners, particularly small business, is that systems take away that personal element of a business, and they worry that it's all going to be robotic and take away, I guess, the decision making power of the staff as well. And you talked about the fact that different humans have different ideas about how things should be done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you're a business owner within that whole McDonald's enterprise. How has it actually helped you with the business, and do you see any challenges with the rigidity of those systems, Matt?
Oh, look. We are always challenging the systems. They're not locked and loaded and set and forget. They need to be agile. They need to be malleable. They need to be able to go with the times. Whether it's doing stuff around social media, which wasn't part of something 10 years ago, definitely wasn't around when I first started. So systems have to be able to adapt to their current environments. So you need to be robust enough that you can have those open and honest conversations and be prepared that sometimes you might have a suggestion that isn't right for the bigger picture, but from what you see, you think it is. But you have to trust that we've got people in the background that pull these things apart, deconstruct it to go, no, that's not going to work on a larger scale. It might work as an individual guy. And look, I consider myself a small business owner. I know it kind of sounds weird. I only own 2 shops, so I look at myself as 2 small businesses that I run. I've got a big thing behind me, but I've got to do my own payroll. I've got to do my own ordering, my own rosters. That's not done by the corporation. So each of that's got to be done. I do my own hiring, my own firing. I do all that myself. So I'm a small business owner inside a bigger corporation.
Yeah, and so a important thing as well with the systems and things that you have is also taking advantage of technology, which I know that McDonald's are great at. I think you can order and then scan your phone when you get there and things like that.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm sure there's a proper name for it.
It's mobile ordering.
Yeah, so there you go.
Complicated.
Taking advantage. So the other thing that systems allows you to do is also take advantage of technology and set you apart from your competitors as well.
Absolutely, it does that. And look, at the end of the day, the systems are the most empowering thing about the systems is it allows you to focus on the business rather than being in the business. So I don't have to be there to watch every Big Mac getting cooked. I don't have to be there to watch how we serve each of our customers because I know that we have a system. So if I see something that's not right, I can refer back to something, not that this is an opinion, but here is a system and here's the documentation of how it should have been done. That wasn't done that way, which then allows me to focus on the bigger part of running the business rather than working in the business.
And I'm sure a key part of that also is having measurements and KPIs and things like that I'm sure you have. So that's something a lot of small business owners often don't have, is something to measure against. How do you find them with your systems and staffing?
It's a golden rule in Macca's that if you measure it, you go better. So whatever you don't measure will kind of fall off the wayside. But if you measure it, and it's something that you're looking at regularly and benchmarking against yourself, you will then go, how do I do this better next time?
How many KPIs or measurements are you looking at on a regular basis, Matt? I suspect it's a few, but what are some of the main ones that you look at?
So the main ones that I look at myself personally within my business, so I look at my sales, and we break that down into 15-minute lots for the day. I look at my major cost contributors, which is my food cost, my labour component, and then I look at what falls under our QSC, quality, service, cleanliness, so things that directly affect the customer. So what are my service targets? What is my drive-through percentage? What is my drive-through percentages that are served within the time frame that we have? What is my kitchen speed targets, and what is my kitchen burger counts in 15 minutes? So they're the things that I look at every morning, first thing when I wake up.
It's like washing, isn't it? You just do it every day.
Every day, yeah. It can be a little bit because I get an email that gets sent to me every night when the store closes, which bundles it up in a nice little package. So usually, even before I'm out of bed, I'm already reviewing the numbers, looking at the things, and figuring out who I need to go and have a chat to the next day to who did good and who didn't.
Because I guess in some ways, just listening to you talk about the systems and looking at the way McDonald's runs globally, there's probably a misconception perhaps by, and maybe it's just by me and not all of our listeners tuning in, but it's kind of a set and forget business. You have all these great systems. All you need to do is go out and hire a bunch of, well, I think it's 16-year-olds now, but, a bunch of kids, they follow the system and you go surfing and just sit on a beach somewhere. Yeah,
I wish. So, look, you can be successful in this business, but we call it's a manual press. So it's not set and forget. If you're not in there working it with them, you're not in there watching, because no one cares about your business more than you do. So, if they see the old fat bloke in there waving his finger because they've dropped a slice of cheese, because to me that's more than a slice of cheese. It's money that they're dropping, we're having to throw out. So, and no one will care about that slice of cheese more than me in my business. So by me being in there regularly and by being having those touch points with my team, absolutely helps keep them engaged and understanding what it is, my expectations.
So a big part of the McDonald's success and brand is service and your staff. So what do you find, especially with hiring younger staff, how do you hire and motivate younger staff? Because I know a lot of our listeners struggle with that, the Gen Ys and Gen Xs or whatever is next.
Yeah, look, it doesn't make any difference, Gen Y, Gen X, Gen, A, B, C. They're all the same. I truly, and I've been doing it for 28 years, so 90% of the population is good. 5% is outstanding, and 5% you go, how did they get here?
Yeah.
So,
So how do you find that 5% of the outstanding?
You hire 100 and you get 5 good ones. So it literally is that. It is, we have the best systems in place for our hiring, and we still get the 5% other people that I look at them and go, I wouldn't feed this person. I wouldn't, how did they get through the stringent controls? But, people present well in interviews and are different in the real world, and so that's just sometimes you've got to take a couple on the chin. But for those people, you've got 90% are great, and then you've got 5% that are just outstanding, and they more than make up for that. And that's just like the real world.
Because a lot of tradies that I talk to, and certainly a lot of businesses that I've worked with over the years, they're searching for that 5% of the outstanding people and almost discounting the 90% who are actually not bad.
No, and look, that 90%, they're the workhorses. They're the ones that shoulder the largest part of the burden. They're the ones that are, they're consistent. They turn up day in, day out. And you've got to go through that 90% to find the 5%, because if you don't know what the good, solid worker is, you don't know how good the outstanding worker truly is. And then when you find that outstanding worker, you hold on with both hands and you do whatever you can to incentivise them and to keep them in the business.
What are some ways you do that, Matt? I mean, not asking you to share commercial secrets here, but I doubt there'd be any of the Macca store owners listening. But how do you keep those good people and motivate them? And also the 90% too. I mean, what do you do to actually keep those workhorses engaged and motivated?
Oh, it's really not rocket science. Sometimes I think people make it seem like it's more complicated than it needs to be. For the most part, a positive, encouraging word goes a really long way. Most people are just happy to hear, good job when they did a good job. Most people get, when things aren't right, we're happy to jump up and down and, shake the fist and say a few bad words. But when things are either, good or even better, we very rarely actually go out of our way to say, hey, you know what? That was good service, whether it's at a restaurant or in hamburgers. We very rarely do we, as a consumer, go to that, hey, thanks for, you did a great job serving me, or that food I got today was better than good, so I'm going to go say thanks, because just that sort of stuff. So with me and my guys, I thank them, and with some of my team that are more, in that 5%, I go over and above, and they know it's over and above, and it's not anything to do with the business that I do. So I'm involved in their lives I don't overstep any lines, but I'm involved in their lives. I'm supportive of their lives outside of the business, knowing that if they get that side of it also sorted, that it helps them be more focused when they're in my business. I'm empathetic, whether if they've got kids or whatever, to making sure they spend time with their kids. Little things here or there, whether it's buying a laptop computer for them or something, and it's never expected. One of my guys broke a computer, I just went and bought them a new one, because they're in that 5%. So that's just something that, little things like that, hearing their problems and just talking about stuff outside of work. That's what we do as well. So I care about them as an overall person, not just as a worker.
Yeah, and that's great to see that you understand too, if they're happy outside of work, they're going to perform better at work as well.
Absolutely.
I don't think a lot of bosses do pay attention to that. When you hear between 9 and 5, you're on and you should be right. Everything else going in their life does affect what they do in that day. So
yeah, absolutely.
Being able to understand that, but also help and reach other goals perhaps that they have in their life will help you.
Yeah, and look, it's sometimes giving them access to contacts I might have at the bank, if they're going for a loan. Sometimes it's giving them some tips on how to save money for a deposit or for something. Sometimes it's giving them tips of how to manage a relationship with their sister or with a loved one. Because I've got sisters, I've had to manage those relationships, and so sometimes it's just hearing that sort of stuff. And you hear the old expression, which is what you're saying. Leave your problems at the door, walk in here. I always say to my guys, that's just crap. If you're having a fight with a wife or whatever, you can't go into work and go, I don't have a fight with my wife, I'm really happy, life's great. That doesn't happen. But what I do say to them is, like, it doesn't happen, but you can actually come in here and escape from that. Whatever that problem is, you can escape for 8 hours, and for 8 hours you can actually not have to think about that, because as soon as you finish and get back home, you're going to be back into whatever that problem was will still be there. Here's a chance to escape. So actually use this as a chance to get away from it and to distract yourself with something else, so you're not just living in that problem for 24 hours.
It's an interesting way of just changing that perception, Matt, and I really like that. I'm going to use that when I have a blue with my wife next. But I'm just going to go and escape into my work. Maybe that's why we're fighting. No. I suppose, McDonald's is a franchise, and we've had a few franchise founders on the show that we've interviewed. We've had, Hire a Hubby and some other franchise founders.
Jai Hobbs.
And Paleo Cafe. G'day, Jai, if you're still listening to the show, mate, from the Paleo Cafe. But talking to you as a franchisee within a behemoth of an organisation, as from a franchisee's perspective, what's some of the good and the bad, or maybe the good and the not so good, Matt? I doubt you'll give us the bad, but of being part of the Macca's franchise.
Oh, look, I'll put it out there, warts and all, that's all right. So the good is, I don't have to think about a lot of things. A lot of the systems are done by somebody else. I've just got to implement them. The marketing is taken care of by a whole creative team. We've got a team that go out looking for the real estate. We've got a team that look after, all the big stuff. So I don't have to think about that sort of stuff. So that's the good. I don't have to think about what the next thing is. We've got a whole departments to do that. So all I've got to do is when they give me the information and when they tell me this is what we're doing, I've got to trust within the organisation that I've signed up for, and I've then got to execute that to the best of my ability. That's the good part. The bad part is sometimes I might think that what we're doing is not the smartest move or whatever, and sometimes that's you've got to suck that up and roll with the punches. And really, that's the worst part. For the most part, the good of the business outweighs that. And every job has its pros and cons. Everything has its pros and cons. As long as there are more pros than there are cons, then let her rip.
Got a question you want answered on the show? Go to tradiesbusinessshow.com.
So Matt started at 14. Sounds like it's been a pretty good journey. A couple of stores, heaps of time for surfing, but we won't tell your physiotherapist that, mate. But what about the lessons, mate? There must have been some challenges and some learning experiences along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's been the main ones for you?
Yeah, look, I'm not university educated. I'm dyslexic, and I'm a high school year 12 kind of. That's about as far as my education goes. So I was saying to you guys before that I've made plenty of mistakes in this business, and whenever I make mistakes that cost me more money, I refer to them as my dumb tax. I've got to pay my dumb tax and learn the hard way. So I've made some major boo-boos, and most of those have been just around not managing my finances effectively, and not understanding my finances. So everything from my old accountant used to give me the stuff and I just sign it, and whilst the sun was shining and the birds were singing, that was fine. Once things tightened up a little bit and all of a sudden it's like I had to start looking at things, I was like, well, why are we doing it that way? So, and it's not until your wet weather account, the saving for the rainy day account runs out, that you really realise how important it is to understand all of your financing, everything from your interest rate to your loans to your overdraft and to your to your financing of I do mine in commercial bills, so understanding what percentage rate they're running at, and when you not just the rate that they quote, but the rate when they throw in the fees and the monthly charges, you have to factor all that sort of stuff in. So we went through a solid 4-year period there where it was costing me money to keep the doors open, month after month after month. So which wiped out that wet weather account, which is lucky I had it.
I was going to say, not a lot of people have a wet weather account.
Correct, yeah.
And so it's good that that you had it to draw on. But it's something we go on about all the time, is knowing your numbers, knowing the financials of your business. And, it may be a drag to sit down and look at them or have them reporting regularly. But absolutely, it's so critical, and this is what you're saying. Yeah,
absolutely. Understanding every last cent, where it goes and where your commitments are. So knowing what your next payment's going to be, when it's going to come out. My wife is all over that like a fat kid in a cupcake. She knows, on the 7th of July, the next payment's coming out. It's going to be this. So we're going to make sure we get the money sitting in the account. Or that might be dropping us into maybe overdraft. So she's got to grab some money from the B account, make sure it's in there so we don't pay the overdraft percentage fees and all that sort of stuff. So it's managing those dollars and cents to the nth degree, so that and with things getting better in the world now, the GFC isn't as big issue as it is, and the world is becoming back into a normal place. The Aussie dollar's down, which is bad for if you're going to travelling, but for businesses in Australia, it's good. It means people are staying in Australia and spending money in Australia. It means that we're going to start seeing some returns happening back within the Australian economy. So what I will do differently with my wet weather account into the future will be completely different to what I did now. And when I have, the sun singing and the birds are, chirping and the, blue skies, I probably will buy less toys and less, less silly things. and just to be a little bit smarter with my investments. And I'm a little bit older too, which I suppose means I need to think about, I probably only got another 20 years in me before I need to do something else. So 10 years ago I had 30 years, so I probably was prepared to have a few more toys and take a few more risks.
So getting through those tough times, what do you think's helped you, besides knowing your numbers, but what helps you now, get more sunshine and birds are chirping kind of days? Yeah,
it's important to celebrate the little wins, and it's important to, as I said before, I'm dyslexic, so I really struggle with reading and with numbers, and maybe that's half the problem with my numbers, getting them around the wrong way. But really keeping a positive attitude, surround yourself, find people in your world that will be supportive and positive. There's plenty of doom and gloom. I literally choose not to watch the news because I don't want to see, there's enough bad stuff going on. I don't want to see it reported on there because that's all that gets on the news. So I don't watch the news. It's a choice that I make. You listen to the radio or you'll hear if there's anything major happening. But I'm not going to watch the news. There's enough bad things. I have good friends. I've got my faith in my God as well, which is something for me, which is something that I rely on and absolutely have conversations with him and whatever else. But having a network of people that are not in my business is really important. That I actually have that will talk when I'm having my bad days. They know me, they love me, they care for me. So therefore, they're gonna, when I'm having my bad days, they're gonna pump my tyres up, and I do it for them too when they're having their bad days.
And don't forget, Matt, you've got CrossFit.
Oh, mate, CrossFit is I love it. Because exactly that. It is that network of people that you have a one common interest, and it is an encouraging environment. And that's, the world just doesn't have enough of that. I read a post the other day which said, CrossFit's the sport where the loudest cheers are saved for the last finisher. And that's just something that doesn't happen in this world. And that's what I love about CrossFit, is that environment that is there.
And so long-time listeners will know that I'm also one of those crazy CrossFitters, and that's how Matt and I met. But perhaps a little bit of conflict there. I'd love to know how many of the people at our particular CrossFit gym actually eat at McDonald's, mate. I mean, how does the brand, and perhaps how do you counter some of the, I guess, bad press that's out there about McDonald's and the food and everything else?
I don't counter it. That's not my job. I'm not going to tell somebody they should be eating. I'm not going to tell them they shouldn't be eating it. To me, the world is, everything should be in moderation. It's when we go to excess in anything where we have issues. So whether we're talking about, if we did nothing but eat apples, that's taken to excess. That ain't going to be good for the body. That's not going to give you a balanced diet. So having a burger here and there is not a bad thing. Having it as a treat. With this new CYT thing I was telling you about earlier, we've now gone, for me, which I'm paleo, I've got a lettuce leaf instead of a bun. I can have my meat and my egg and my beetroot. So it can absolutely fulfill the need today. So, yeah.
Just one thing I want to step back is something you talk about, which I don't think guys in particular do enough, and that's actually chatting and talking about their down days.
Can we not talk about that, please?
Yeah. So I think that's so key to get across how important it is to actually say, you know what, I'm having a shit day, I am having a fight with the wife, the kids are driving me nuts, I just need to let go of some stuff. So a lot of guys find that really hard to do. And how do you, it's obviously having people that you can trust and talk to, but how do you feel it makes, things better for you when you actually talk about things? Yeah, so
first of all, what happened for me was when I had my tough time, when I had my 4 years of shit hitting the fan. I'm not a very good reader because of my dyslexia, so I did a lot of audio books. So I probably did about 30 audio books in a year. And one of those was a book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So, and that one actually talks about having a mastermind network of people, which is people that you hang out with, that you then can converse with, that shouldn't be from your industry, should be from different industries. So a lot of my people that I hang out with, and I do that with, most of them are from my local church that I attend. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I haven't figured out yet. It's working for me.
Well, it's a good thing if it's working for you, hey.
And look, at the end of the day, it takes time to build up that relationship with people that you can feel that you can share. And it is literally, we've had in that group of guys, we've had some guys share some pretty intimate or personal or financially troubling sort of stuff. and not often are we doing anything for them. We're not saying, well, here's some money, or here's my bank manager, or whatever. It's the problem shared is the problem halved. By just talking about it, actually just enables them to just have a look at it, and then all of a sudden just knowing that people were there just to support you, and in our case, pray for you as well, which is just means that you don't feel like you're in it alone.
I think it's so important what you said there, where you're not there to solve their problems, you're just there to listen.
That's it.
And guys, I'm generalising here, but go into problem solving straight away.
Yeah.
But sometimes the biggest help you can be is just to listen.
Yeah, and which is funny because that's exactly what this group that I hang out with, that's what we do. We just listen, we talk. We'll ask for advice and sometimes get it. But, my wife will come home and say something to me and I'll go straight into problem solving mode with her. So, I'm good with my mates listening, but with the wife, I still try to solve her problems and I get in trouble for it.
I think that's a problem for everyone that's in a long-term relationship with a member of the opposite sex. So, Matt, one of the questions we love to ask our guests on the show is if you had 1,000 tradies in the room, apart from serving each and every one of them a Big Mac, mate, what's one piece of advice that you would love to leave them with?
I've got many friends that are tradies, and the one thing I always shake my head at is that I don't think that they value themselves enough. I don't think that they see enough value in them as people and as business owners. And I think that they need to think bigger than themselves and to try to think beyond John Smith Electrical or John Smith Concreting, and maybe call it something that is something that they can grow and sell. Because most tradies, when they finish work, they've got a ute full of tools or whatever else, and they're done. They're not selling anything. So you're working hard, and at least with me, when I finish, I sell my business, and I get that's my golden handshake. Tradies don't get that, so I think they just need to think bigger, and think bigger than what they are. And enough of them do it. There's money in it. There's some challenges and some risks. But at the end of the day, when you finish, you then sell it, and
nothing comes easy.
Retirement.
Nothing comes easy. So you can have your tools and bad knees, or you can have a business that you've worked hard for that actually has value in it. And I think it's so important. What you say is that they don't value themselves enough.
Yeah,
it's just so they don't think that they can have a great business. They think they can just work for themselves and that'll be happy days.
Yeah, there's a lot more longevity if they employ other people to do the work, and then they work on the business rather than in the business. They're not on the tools, so all of a sudden they can do that for a little bit longer. Sure, you're managing people and you're managing clients, but it's better than pushing around the tools. And you got the understanding, so none of the young bucks can get anything over you either.
Well, it's certainly great advice, Matt, and it's nice to hear somebody else banging on about it other than Michaela and myself. So there you go, listeners. Value yourself more, and I think Michaela and I might do an episode just around that particular topic. So, Matt, thanks so much for coming into the studio today. I know you're a busy man. You've got a couple of stores and lots of staff and heaps of numbers for you to go and look at. If we want to find out more about you, I guess you've got a couple of stores there. You're at Bribie Island, and what's the other store?
The other one's Bribie Interchange.
Bribie Interchange,
okay. Drive in Caboolture,
which is literally just off the Bruce Highway on the north side of Brisbane. So if you happen to be travelling through that area, stop in and ask for Matt, and I'm sure he'll show you his burger flipping skills. But thanks again for coming in today, mate.
Worries.
Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
Would you like fries with that, Warwick?
I would love some fries with my hot chocolate fudge sundae thing. I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about Macca's all day today. And I might have to slip out and just get a sneaky large fries because they're like almost paleo.
Well, you can have your paleo stuff. Now I know it's not the same. Well, I don't think it's the same.
A lettuce leaf with a patty and a bit of
it ain't
beetroot.
no Big Mac.
It doesn't sound quite as good, does it? Thanks again to Matt Grut. Awesome interview. The biggest thing for me that Matt talked about, and I bang on about this all the time, is looking at your numbers. So actually having the right measurements in your business, and it's an axiom within a lot of businesses, and it is within Macca's as well, that what gets measured gets improved. So it should be the same in your business as a tradie. Figure out what you need to be measuring and looking at and testing, and look at those daily. I don't know if you picked up on that, listeners, but every 15 minutes. So they're actually looking at their sales figures, their costs and everything in 15-minute increments. That's some pretty detailed measurement right there.
It is, and I don't recommend that you check your numbers before you get out of bed each day. That's probably not the best way. You should be, meditating and being one with the world and not checking your business numbers that early in the day, but certainly when you get to the office or on the tools.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to figure out which numbers you should be checking and perhaps even get some templates that can help you to start doing that today, go and join the Tradies Business Toolkit. So it's only $1 for the first 30 days, and then it's $27 a month after that. You'll get instant access to templates, to some actual measurement systems. So pretty much done the work for you. You can go and download those straight away. There's a couple of recorded webinars up already, and there's monthly webinars with Macca and myself talking about topics just like KPIs and measurements, recruitment, all those sorts of things. Perhaps even better than all of that is you get access to the private Facebook group. So Michaela and I are checking in there on a daily basis, and there's been some great conversations in there, Michaela, lately about all sorts of issues that some of our Tradies Toolkit members are having.
That's right. So how they want their car signage to look, promotion ideas, dealing with staff, all kinds of things. And it's great hearing other tradies hopping in and sharing their experiences and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So go check it out, tradiesbusinesstoolkit.com. It's $1 for the first 30 days. That's your trial period. There's no restrictions on your access, so you could literally go and pay $1, download all the stuff, and then bugger off. But we know you wouldn't do that because you're a tradie. And
you'll just forget you got the membership and stay there.
And then it's $27 to stick around after that.
And what you should also do while you're online is check out our show supporters of face-to-face training. So if you're looking at getting some certificates for your staff, up training, some management or leadership training for yourself, head to the guys at face2face.edu.au, and you may or may not get some government rebates. So it actually doesn't cost you anything, but check with them because, there's terms and conditions and stuff.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Nope.
So great interview with Matt. Thanks again for coming into the studio, Matt. Awesome to talk to a Macca's franchisee. Some awesome lessons in there. And, if ever you're on the north side of Brisbane, stop in and grab a Big Mac off the guys.
All right, time to go the drive-through.
Righto, let's go. Woo!
You've been listening to the Tradies Business Show with Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark. Want to get off the tools and into true business ownership? Find out how at tradiesbusinessshow.com.